Have you ever found yourself in, a really passionate discussion? Like absolutely certain you had the facts straight.
Oh, yeah.
And then later, maybe much later, you have that quiet, or sometimes not so quiet
Uh-huh.
moment.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize you might have been, well, completely wrong.
Yeah.
It's pretty universal, that feeling, isn't it?
Yeah,
Kind of humbling.
definitely. Happens to everyone.
So today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that, into the fascinating and, let's be honest, sometimes frustrating ways our minds work. Our mission here is to explore why we so often feel incredibly right, even when, the evidence might be pointing completely the other way. We're going to try and uncover some specific mental shortcuts, these cognitive biases. Some of them are quite surprising.
Exactly. And understanding this stuff, it isn't just like a psychology lecture. It's really about giving you tools, practical ways to navigate all the information hitting you every day.
Right.
Once you understand these mechanisms, you get these unexpected insights. And you learn how to maybe catch yourself in the act, before a mistaken belief gets too dug in.
That's absolutely the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
This isn't about feeling bad about being wrong. Because honestly, we all are sometimes. It's more about pulling back the curtain a bit on how our brains operate and building something really valuable. Intellectual humility.
A willingness to learn.
Yeah. So let's get into it. Our journey starts with something really basic. This illusion of certainty. It feels like we crave solid answers, right? Like our brains are just built to know things for sure. But when you actually dig into the sources, the truth is our brains are more like guessing machines. They infer, they fill in gaps constantly.
It's true. They're built for quick judgments, really, to help us navigate a super complex world efficiently. Not always accurately, but efficiently.
Okay, so efficiency over accuracy sometimes.
Yeah, and it's quite profound when you look at the neuroscience. There's this dopamine mechanism, right? It actually reinforces confident behavior. So it literally feels good to be certain.
Wow.
And that feeling, it can be a really powerful trick the brain plays. It means when you feel the most sure, your brain is giving you this little reward.
So that amazing feeling of certainty.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It might actually be a signal to pause, to ask yourself, okay, wait, is this certainty really justified? Or is my brain just enjoying this dopamine hit?
Huh.
It's totally counterintuitive. It's why you often hear that phrase, the more certain you feel, the more you should probably question it.
Why? That's a bit of a gut punch, isn't it? But in a good way. Because, if you're anything like me, you can instantly think of times you felt just absolutely 100% sure about a fact or a memory, maybe a judgment about someone, only to get completely blindsided when reality, turned out differently.
Happens all the time.
Okay, so if our brains are kind of wired to create this powerful illusion of certainty, what are some of the specific mental shortcuts, these cognitive biases you mentioned? The ones that lead us astray and make us feel so stubbornly right.
Right.
Like, what are the big ones we really need to watch out for?
Well, okay, there are definitely a few key players in this mental game. Maybe the most famous one is confirmation bias.
Ah, yes. Heard of that one.
Yeah, it's our really deep-seated habit, basically, of seeking out information, interpreting stuff, even remembering things in a way that just confirms what we already believe.
So we look for proof we're right.
Exactly. Think about, how good it feels to read an article that perfectly matches your worldview.
Comforting.
That's confirmation bias at work. It's actively narrowing your perspective without you even noticing sometimes. It's a shortcut that can make you miss the bigger picture.
For your brain's just trying to confirm what it thinks it already knows.
Precisely. Then there's the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Okay, what's that?
So this one describes how people with low competence or skill in a specific area, they tend to massively overestimate their own ability in that area.
Oh,
They genuinely don't know what they don't know. And sort of ironically, their lack of skill actually prevents them from seeing their own mistakes.
Like the saying, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing.
Kind of. It's like, imagine a really bad cook who thinks they're Gordon Ramsay, just totally unaware of how bad their food tastes. That's Dunning-Kruger.
Gotcha. Okay.
And one more really important one, belief perseverance. This one's incredibly powerful. Once we've really committed to a belief, we tend to just cling to it, like really tightly.
Even with proof otherwise.
Oh, yeah. Even when you're shown clear, compelling evidence that flat out contradicts it, it's remarkably hard to let go of an idea once it's taken root.
Man, these aren't just like abstract theories in a textbook, are they?
Not at all.
You see them playing out all around us every single day in really obvious ways sometimes.
Absolutely.
Like, think about the really extreme political polarization we see.
Yeah.
People on different sides almost seem to live in separate realities sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Echo chambers.
Yeah, each totally convinced they have the monopoly on truth. Or, think about a maybe less extreme example like a startup founder who just won't let go of their initial product idea.
Right, despite the market feedback.
Exactly. Despite customers saying, we want this other thing, it's that human tendency to filter out anything that challenges the story we prefer. Yeah. Have you ever seen this playing out very clearly in your own life? Or maybe with people around you, where someone just cannot seem to absorb new information that contradicts their view?
Oh, absolutely. It's everywhere once you start looking for it. And this whole dynamic, it's exactly the kind of thing researchers like Daniel Kahneman explored in his big book, Thinking Fast and Slow.
Right, the System 1 and System 2 thinking.
Exactly. He talks about how our thinking processes, that fast, intuitive System 1 and the slower, more deliberate System 2, often lead us right into these biases. We make snap judgments, we overlook key details, all because it's easier.
It really sounds like our brains are almost designed, in a way, to defend what they already believe. It's like a default setting.
In many ways, yes, for stability.
So what happens then? Here's where it gets really interesting, I think. What happens when those deeply held beliefs smash right up against undeniable facts? That must create some sparks.
Oh, it definitely does. That's where cognitive dissonance comes roaring in. And it is truly fascinating stuff.
Okay, dissonance. Like musical dissonance.
Yeah.
Clashing notes.
Kind of like that, yeah. It's the mental discomfort. It really is uncomfortable that we feel when we hold two or more contradictory beliefs or ideas or values at the same time.
Like trying to believe two opposite things are true.
Exactly. And it feels bad, like an internal alarm bell starts ringing. So to shut off that alarm, to relieve the discomfort, what do we usually do?
We probably don't calmly change our belief, do we?
Rarely. Much more often, we find ourselves actually doubling down on our original belief.
Even with the fact staring us in the face.
Even then,
Yeah.
instead of changing the belief, which feels threatening, we find ways to rationalize or dismiss the new information, or maybe reinterpret it so it doesn't clash anymore. We twist things to reduce that internal conflict.
Can you give an example?
Sure, the classic examples are good ones. Like someone who smokes despite knowing all the health risks. They might tell themselves, well, my grandpa smoked his whole life and lived to be 90.
Right, finding an exception to justify it.
Exactly. Or maybe someone who consistently spends more money than they should. They might rationalize it by saying, well, you only live once. Or, I deserve a treat.
It's about twisting reality just enough to make the uncomfortable feeling go away.
Precisely. It's all about maintaining that internal consistency, keeping things comfortable in our heads.
And gosh, if you're really honest with yourself, you could probably think of times you've done this yourself, right?
Oh, definitely. We all do.
Maybe rationalize the decision you made that deep down you kind of knew wasn't the best. But admitting that would just create too much dissonance, too much conflict.
It's a very powerful internal drive, this need to reduce discomfort.
It really is.
Yeah, and this whole mechanism of self-justification, it's something Carol Tavris and Elliot Aronson explored brilliantly in their book, Mistakes Were Made, but Not by Me.
Great title.
Isn't it? Their research just powerfully shows how deeply ingrained this process is. How we're constantly building these narratives to keep our self-perception consistent, even if it means subtly bending reality along the way.
Okay, so we've got biases making us feel certain, dissonance making us double down when challenged. But what about, like, the deeper level, our identity? How does that play into all this? Because it feels like it goes beyond just thoughts, right?
Oh, it absolutely does. This is crucial. Our beliefs, they often aren't just abstract ideas we hold. They become tangled up with our very sense of self. Like
Part of who we are.
Exactly. So when a core belief gets attacked, or even just questioned seriously, it can feel like a direct attack on us.
On our intelligence.
On your intelligence, your values, your group identity, your very being. And that triggers a really strong defensive reaction. It makes it incredibly difficult to genuinely, openly consider an alternative view.
Because it's not just about an idea anymore.
No, it feels personal. It feels like it's about you.
And, man, unfortunately, the way modern social media is set up, it often seems to just pour gasoline on this fire, doesn't it?
It really can, yeah. We tend to drift towards information in online communities that just echo what we already think.
The echo chambers.
Right. And these echo chambers, they reinforce this kind of tribal thinking. They make it even harder to encounter different viewpoints, let alone seriously consider them or admit we might be wrong about something.
You get stuck in this feedback loop almost that just keeps amplifying your own confirmation bias.
That's a great way to put it. A feedback loop.
You know, speaking of being caught in a loop, I actually have a story that fits perfectly here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. For years, I was absolutely convinced about the exact timeline of a particular historical event. I'd seen a documentary, maybe read an article or two way back when, and the narrative just cemented itself in my head. Solid. I even argued with friends about it pretty passionately, you know? No, that definitely happened before this other thing, I'm positive.
Right, that feeling of certainty again.
Totally. My internal story was just locked in. Then, one day, I was doing some totally unrelated research, just browsing online, and up pops this clear, like universally accepted timeline from multiple reputable sources.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And it showed the sequence of events was the exact opposite of what I'd believed for so long. My first reaction, honestly, was denial. That can't be right. That source is probably simplifying things. Classic dissonance reduction, right?
Totally dismissing the conflicting info.
But then I checked another source.
Yeah.
And another. And the evidence was just undeniable, irrefutable. And in that moment, the resistance just faded. And there was this weird mix of feelings. Embarrassment, definitely. But mostly this big aha moment. It suddenly wasn't about being right anymore. It was just about accepting the actual facts and, updating my mental map.
That is such a perfect illustration of the whole process, and it really highlights how genuinely hard that moment of recognition can be.
It was.
It takes real intellectual humility, that quality we mentioned, to face up to something you were so sure about and then actually adjust your understanding of the world. It's tough work, but so, so valuable.
It really felt like it afterwards. And hey, if you listening have had a similar moment at that time you realized you were confidently incorrect, maybe share it. We'd love to potentially hear those for a future deep dive.
Yeah, those stories are powerful.
Okay, so this brings us to the really practical part, the crucial question for all of us listening. Now that we understand these pervasive mental traps, these biases, this dissonance, how can we actually learn to spot them in ourselves? And how do we cultivate that intellectual humility we keep talking about? What can we do?
Right, the so what part. It really starts with some concrete steps, things you can practice. First, actively ask yourself this question about your strong beliefs. What evidence, if I saw it, would genuinely convince me I might be wrong about this?
Okay. What would change my mind?
Exactly. If you honestly can't think of anything, if there's literally no evidence that could possibly sway you, then that's a huge red flag. You're likely deep in belief perseverance or really strong confirmation bias territory. That's your cue to pause and reflect.
That's a good self-check. What else?
Second, practice active listening, especially with people who hold different views than you.
And what does active listening really mean here?
It means truly trying to hear and understand their perspective, not just waiting for your turn to talk, not formulating your rebuttal while they're still speaking.
Listen to comprehend, not just to reply.
Exactly. Seek to understand why they believe what they believe from their point of view.
Okay, that takes effort.
It does. Third, and this one's really critical, maybe the hardest, actively seek out disconfirming evidence.
Go looking for stuff that proves you wrong. That feels unnatural.
It totally does. Our bias is to look for confirming evidence. But if you hold a strong belief, intentionally go look for reputable sources, solid arguments, or data that challenge it. And engage with it with an open mind, not just to shoot it down, but to genuinely try and understand the counter-argument.
Steel manning instead of straw manning.
Precisely. And finally, overarching all of this is cultivating intellectual humility as just a core mindset. A way of being.
And that means?
It's not about lacking confidence in what you do know. It's more about the profound understanding that there's always more to learn, that your current knowledge is always incomplete, and it's always subject to revision based on new evidence. It's about recognizing the sheer vastness of knowledge out there and the very real limits of your own individual understanding.
You know, hearing you describe it like that, it really does sound like a kind of superpower, especially today with just the fire hose of information constantly blasting at us.
It really is incredibly helpful.
Intellectual humility. It lets you actually learn and adapt and grow in ways that just aren't possible if you're constantly stuck defending this fragile sense of certainty.
Well said. It genuinely helps you become more truly well-informed, not just feeling informed.
So if there's one core message to take away from our deep dive today, maybe it's this. feeling right doesn't necessarily mean being right.
Exactly. Our brains are amazing, complex things, but they're also wired in ways that naturally make us want to confirm our beliefs rather than question them. So developing that intellectual humility, that willingness to question ourselves, it's not just a nice to have. It's really an essential skill for navigating the world effectively.
Absolutely. So here's maybe a final thought, a little challenge for you as you go about your day or week.
Hmm.
Think of one belief you hold. Could be big, could be small, something you've always just accepted as certain, never really questioned.
Hmm.
Now just start there. Ask yourself that question. What piece of information, what evidence, or what different perspective would truly convince you that you might, just might, be wrong about it?
Just asking the question is powerful.
Yeah. Just the act of genuinely asking can open up some really interesting internal space. Well, we really hope you found this deep dive insightful today.
Hope it gave you some food for thought.
If you did, please take a second to rate us. Maybe share this deep dive with someone you know who, well, who might be just a little bit stubborn sometime,
Gently, of course.
playfully. And definitely make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our future deep dives.